Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Pretty Aggressive. My name's Julia and I own Pretty Aggressive Industries, which does pretty aggressive recovery coaching for women who have been raised in toxic bonding, abusive parenting, or poorly bonded parenting. And today is going to be hard and maybe a little different, but not. Typically, I either run off memorized speeches or try to just do a free flow with notes, but today I've actually written something down that turned out really well, so I'd like to kind of offer it verbatim. When I started Pretty Aggressive, I knew it was going to be hard. I could foresee in front of me the amount of vulnerability it was going to take from myself to actually be helpful to others. But every week that goes by where I have an idea for a story to share, I cower away. I fill my schedule and make excuses and find some reason to not share. And it's bullshit. I know why sharing the stories is important. And I know how they need to be presented to be helpful. But my unmanaged mind digs its claws in. It gets louder than my internal coach. I worry that I am presenting myself as a victim. I worry that pieces of what I share will cause people to recoil and think negative things about me I can't control. I lose faith in myself and my purpose. I worry that I won't get it right. What is the vulnerability for? What is my purpose? It's to help. And it's my offering. It's my penance for all the times I've read or watched or listened to another person share and have found growth, have found help, have felt like I finally found what I so desperately needed to press on from a place of darkness. Someone else was willing to dig deep and release, consciously or unconsciously knowing that it would not only save them, but has the potential to save at least one other. If we do not shed our armor, we cannot grow past its confines. I look at the beginning of what I need to do and find fear in having to admit the pain and struggle I've gone through. And it overshadows the second half of the story, where I find tools, where I get in the trenches and where I've made it out the other side a better and stronger person. Fear shortens our sight line. I tell my daughter, it's okay to be scared, but it's not okay to give up. So here we are. I need to remember that I'm not just sharing my vulnerabilities. I'm here to share the lessons and tools that have come out of my hardship. I'm here to set an example, and hopefully a good one. So today I'm sharing some tools I have found for being vulnerable with ourselves and with others. And that tool is knowing and understanding what's usually referred to as recovery language. So if you look up recovery language on the internet, if you Google it like a millennial, you will find some very clinical terminology about how a mental health care provider or clinician or counselor should speak to someone in either a mental health recovery or an addictions recovery. But the recovery language that I'm referring to is the language that people use in order to express healthy ways about talking about themselves and talking about what's troubling them. And it's focused on personal responsibility, it's focused on personal growth, and it's focused on being able to label our emotions and provoke a positive internal dialogue. So for example, today I had my best friend ask me, what do you need? How can I help you? And I was discussing how I've got things I want to get done, but I'm exhausted and tired, and that I'm stressed and worried, and it makes me feel useless or pathetic or behind to not be doing the things I need to do but I also know my body needs rest. So this is being able to label my emotions and talk about my feelings, and being able to further analyze where that's coming from and why I feel that pressure. So my body is not healthy right now, and I know that causes me to feel inadequate or unproductive, but to be able to have a second self-awareness and a watcher to know that that's my prior damage trying to discuss with me why I'm not able to do the things I'm doing, or that I want to do. And to be able to have a conversation back and forth, and also to be able to identify that those things are coming from within me. That's my internal locus and an internal conflict, and be able to discuss the fact that I understand it's not my environment and it's not external sources that are causing my distress. So recovery, this is all recovery language. And furthermore, it's being able to communicate to others in a vulnerable state when we feel like something is wrong or we're struggling, to be able to label what we actually need. So I was able to tell my friend that I need time and I need space. And that's, when you're unfamiliar with that kind of what some people would call woo-woo language, it's hard to understand what that might mean. And if we're able to continue explaining around that, time and space really means I need more time and space in my schedule. And that's what will help me. I need to feel like my schedule isn't pressured up against all of the other things I need to do in a line. I know in myself that I need more room to do the things I want to get done more slowly, and to be able to communicate that to someone else in my club, in my circle, who's at my table, in my life, in my community, in my tribe, to let them know what that means for me and what that looks like, and that they can help me by just helping me talk through not overloading my schedule, helping discuss with me, what is your schedule? What can you say no to? What can I take off your plate? How can I make things easier on you? And that's a recovery language discussion. So when we are vulnerable and when we feel like we are struggling, the best tool we can use is to develop the language to be able to talk about and discuss our feelings, our needs to ourselves and to other people. Now, when we come from a dysfunctional raising background, when we're raised in a dysfunctional situation, environment, or family, it's very difficult to know how to develop that language, because usually the dysfunction is coming from adults or our caregivers in our lives not having that language themselves and participating in toxic coping mechanisms because they don't have the healthy tools themselves. So we don't have an example set. We don't hear adults in our youth talking about their feelings, trying to communicate their feelings to someone else, trying to use words as conflict resolution to connect and join each other, to get on each other's side so that we can form empathy and compassion. So all of this is recovery language. All of this is healthy language that allows us to be comfortable in our vulnerability. The reason people silence their vulnerability is because they don't have the words. They don't have the language. And that's uncomfortable. It's like trying to talk to someone who doesn't speak the same language as you, and your language is silence. You don't have the words. The best way to start building your vocabulary is to start reading and researching and listening to podcasts and audiobooks about personal development and recovery. It's looking into Buddhism and self-help. A lot of Eastern philosophy covers the self and internal versus external, and about using other words for our anger and our shame and our guilt, and how to release those things and how to communicate those things, how to put labels and words to the feelings our body is having in response to our emotions that we are trying to manage in our mind. So your thoughts are full of words and images, and if you're able to take those from here and bring them out here, you can connect better with other people, and then your vulnerability becomes a strength. It allows you to form bonds and relationships and to be understood, and then to have other people share back with you and help. That's today's lesson. I hope that helps, and I will be doing a further video communicating the vulnerability state that I'm in right now. I'm having some health issues, and I am going to share that story in order to help other women who have had the same issue. So thank you all. Put out into the world what you wish to see. And I'm Julia from Pretty Aggressive.